Okay. Today we have here Lors from UK. Hi, Lors. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. So this is the third call of the day. I'm doing kind of lot, even if it's the end of the year. And I'm really happy to have you here. We talk about her journey, also all the things that she does. And so I would like to start from how did you become a developer, and then we have some things to talk about. We'll talk about computer science degree and other things. We'll talk about in this episode. Let's call this episode. Yeah.
So,
So
at the beginning, I was a childcare practitioner, and so I looked after children all day. And I got into childcare around 21. So I graduated about 23, 24 when I first became fully qualified. And I thought I had it all. I thought, I've got a perfect career. I was a room leader. I was quite high up, and thought I had this perfect job. And as time got on, I kept thinking, something's missing. Something's missing from my career. Like I was wanting that challenge, the chase and that sort of thing. And I just every day I was waking up, so I was going to my job and I was doing my job properly and I was doing what I wanted to do, but I was like, something's missing, and I didn't feel challenged enough. I didn't feel like that I was fulfilling like my purpose. So I was going day to day and just dragging along really how I felt towards the end, which is, and I love my job, I love the kids, and I loved everything that I was doing. But Adam, my partner, he works with Magento, so he does a lot of Magento dev and a lot of work with Shopify and that sort of thing. So every day it was like, this has happened on Magento and this has happened on Shopify, and come and look at this code and come and look at this website that we're building. And I'm thinking, oh God, no. At first I was like, oh no, I'm not interested in that. No, I'm not bothered. No, don't want to look. And he was like, no, just come and look. And I was, no, I was like, not interested. But as the time got on and we got into lockdown, I just left my job as a practitioner. So obviously stuck with him 24/7. He's like, just come and have a look. And I'm like, oh God. Right, okay. So I'll come and have a look. So I looked, and I was like, no, not really. But the second and third time I was like, oh, sort of, what's that? And then what's that? So it was sort of like from there, I was a bit sort of, oh, right, okay. Can you tell me a bit more about that? And can you tell me a bit more about this? Because all the way through our time, it was, talking about tech and talking about computers and talking about this, and computers and tech were never something I'd really thought about, because from my point of view, I didn't feel like clever enough to do tech. And I know obviously you get so many people from different walks of life, but I think with lack of self-confidence, I think you just feel like you don't have the skills to work in tech. And I always just think, no, I can't do things like that. I'm not clever. I'm not, I can't do it. So I left it for maybe a few weeks, but at this time he was like, go on, just have a look. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to escape it now. So one day I just got out the laptop and just searched for free coding sites on Google and came up with Free Codecamp. And Free Codecamp was the best thing I ever did for my career now, because it explained it in such terms that even explaining it to like a 5-year-old, which is sort of how I felt at the time learning code, that was easy for me to understand, and the examples, and then being able to go away and sort of Google it was quite a nice thing to be able to then come back after thinking about the answer, maybe going over what it could be, and then seeing that the answer's right. It just gives you that sort of confidence boost, because for someone like obviously you just don't feel like you're ever going to get it, to get something like an array or to put a string together, it was like the best thing that I'd ever done. And this sort of feeling of achievement and that thing that had been missing from my previous career, it sort of like popped up, and this little light bulb appeared above my head, and I was like, oh my god, like I can do it. And like so I started, like, I think the mistake that I made initially, I was trying to learn everything. So like
same
really, really bad on my part, but I actually started on the responsive web design at the beginning, and then I jumped on to like have a look at the APIs and all that further down the go-camp list. And I'm like, oh god, like, is that what I've got to learn like now? And I'm just thinking, oh my god.
The more you learn, the more you know that you have to learn.
That's it. And I was like learning, and I'd done the HTML and the like that side of it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to learn like JavaScript, and I'm thinking I've got to learn everything at once. And I think that was like the part where I just sat down, I just collapsed, and my brain just felt overload because I was trying to do so many different things when I didn't need to. And when I joined Twitter, I think especially seeing how everybody else was doing like the 100 Days of Code challenge and people creating these amazing projects, I was like, oh my god, I can't do that. Like, that's, I'm not at that point yet. And I think sometimes it does get to you because you think, am I ever going to get to that point? Am I going to be able to create something like that? And because I'd only just started out, you sort of feel like disheartened because you're not at that point yet, even though eventually you will get to that point. But because I wasn't at that point now, and I wanted to be now there at that point, I couldn't do it. And I ended up sitting down and just crying because I was like, my brain was overloaded, and I just couldn't, I just didn't know where to go next. So I had to strip it all back and just say, right, I'm now learning HTML. I gave myself a target of 5 projects per topic. So like HTML, like I built landing pages. I did like my portfolio, which I still haven't updated. But like they were my projects. And then when I went on to learn JavaScript, I began adding that into the HTML, which I sort of see as like adult Lego, because you're constantly building on top of each other. So you've got like your HTML and your CSS, then your JavaScript, and then obviously your frameworks on top of that. Yeah. So you're just constantly building all the time. And it was really, really good to go back and see how I've progressed and then making changes, like where I started at the beginning, going, actually, no, that's not right. And then changing it into something better. So it was really nice to have that.
Yeah, I really like this story. I think this will be one of the most useful interviews of my series, because this is exactly what the people that I'm looking for. So people that can really explain that, even if they are not that tech background, even if they are not, they were not coding on the legs of their fathers, they can really do this. And also we are here also to show that you just don't fall in love with coding just in one day. This can also be a really, in our case, I think it has been a really slow process. I think that the tech world, the developer world, is so big that you can find your way. There is place for everyone. There are so many topics that you can focus on. Even if I just say front end, there are so many things already, without even spelling DevOps and backend and other security. So even just one branch on just backend, it's really just a word. It's a word of words. So yeah. So maybe in your case, in the beginning, and I also made your same mistake. Now I want to learn everything. So I want to learn everything, and then I'll move on. And then basically you are stuck because you can't learn everything. Yeah, and which is your favorite technology? Which is the thing that you like the most, that you like the most now?
So I quite obviously I've never stopped learning JavaScript. I like JavaScript, but I'm starting to learn React. But again, I'm not fully confident with JavaScript, so I'm not going to be pushing myself to learn React if I'm not going to not fully comfortable with JavaScript. I don't want to be like doing an array in JavaScript and then like right, okay, I've done that now. Let's go on to React. Let's go on to Node. Let's go on to Vue. Like let's do all that. That's not like I think if people want to think like that, that's where people start to break down a bit because there's just so many frameworks and you've got different people preferring different frameworks and you've got all the points for the Vue and then you've got all the points for React and you've got people saying, oh, this is the best framework, and it's what framework works for you. And if you prefer, like I used to, when I first started out, I was using a bit of jQuery, and so many people were saying it's a legacy code. You don't use jQuery. You don't need to. There's JavaScript for that now. You don't need to use that. But at the time, I really enjoyed using jQuery. And I felt like after seeing those comments, I sort of felt obliged not to use jQuery because so many people are saying don't use it, but there are so many websites and companies out there that still use jQuery, and if you inspect their site, it's built with jQuery, so there is still a need for it.
I know one site that will still use jQuery. Do you know which one is? Stack Overflow. So so they still use jQuery. Yeah. So because I inspected that, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're at the beginning. I don't know. Maybe they have some advice. Maybe you wasn't even asked to. Yeah, but I think So now you're focusing on. You'd like to focus on React, but you want to also learn JavaScript in the process.
Yeah, so I'm not going too much into React just because I'm learning it. So like if I do a bit of JavaScript and then maybe I'll have a look at React, but I'm not going to be learning JavaScript and then trying to learn React as well because I admit I'm not fully confident with JavaScript. Like all the links on my Google search pages are purple because I've clicked on every single link on that page. So there's none of them that haven't been clicked, searching for answers, searching for the solution. And it's always going to be a case of, you're not going to know everything. There's always going to be ways. But I really find that, like, writing blogs, so I began writing blogs when I'd learned something. So, like, with JavaScript, did arrays and functions. They were so hard for me. But I found writing blogs about it and then giving interactive pieces in those blogs, it really helped like solid your understanding and your knowledge because you're typing and learning because you're writing. So like it'll say like what was a string and then you're writing what a string is. And then because you've wrote it so many times, then you come away and you're like, that's a string. And you can explain it because you've wrote about it. There was days when I used to spend all day trying to remember what CSS stood for. And I think it was about a week. I was, every day, like, what's CSS? And I was like, and I didn't know, and I just couldn't remember the name of it. But like little targets like that, I think the day when I got that, what CSS stood for, I was like, oh my gosh. And it's like little eureka moments that make you feel like you are getting somewhere. So it's really nice.
Yeah, and as I said, it's impossible to learn every framework because they keep there are also new frameworks. There is Svelte now and a lot of other frameworks. So it's kind of impossible to keep it up. So yes, in my opinion, there are a lot of people who make a lot of money with just WordPress, PHP. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's it. And I think that Danny Thompson put a really good point on about you could build a static site with HTML and CSS, and then you can make it, with add JavaScript into it, and you can animate it and make it more appealing to your users. And that's sort of like how I go off. Like I've got a site, and then add little bits to it, and then make it better. But if you just document your progress from like when you started to 6 months later, you'll be able to see how well you've done. And you think, I've not learned anything. I'm not getting anywhere. But if you see the progress you've made, like using something like a portfolio and just updating it every now and again, you'll be able to see what you've done. And it's just, it's really...
Yeah, and for example, also the process of deploying. For example, if you deploy your site, your portfolio, for example, with just HTML and CSS, you can then, and so you understand even what DNS domains works. Then you can upload a different version, maybe a React version of your portfolio, maybe further.
Exactly, and it's everything you do when you're coding and you're programming. Everything you do, you're learning with everything you do. Whether it's copying and pasting, learning that Control-C enables you to copy something, that's learning, no matter how minor it might be. But when you go to do something else, you can just, to use copy and C and not highlight and then right click. It's you learning shortcuts, and everything is a learning curve, no matter what you do.
Yeah, exactly. But I really like your approach. I don't know if you want to just focus on front end, or you want to move maybe later, or you don't want to think about that now. But I think that for now you already have a lot of things to do. So there is there is Benno Wad, which is a kind of a great you know him, Benno Wad, which has a really great YouTube channel, almost 200,000 subscribers, and he still do things with React every day. He learns every day. So you can maybe after a while, maybe you are a little bit faster, but you always keep learning. I'm
hoping to sort of like do a few videos, but I've just not got the time at the moment. We're in this at home a lot, and I work at home all the time, and then I have to study at home in the same place that I work, so I never get that separation. At the moment I can't just go to like a coffee shop and study. I'm having to study at the same desk that I work at, so it's like having to learn to switch between working and studying.
I have it. I've had it here one person who says that he has a dedicated room, but maybe not every person has that opportunity, that he just shut the door at the end of the day, and so a separate room in the house. I don't know. Some people there are people that really don't have this opportunity. It would be great to have that, maybe a room when you, I don't know, make videos and have a study, but sometimes it's not possible. So now you're learning. What about in your case to create content? So do you write articles? Do you are planning to do something in the future?
Not so long ago, I did a live stream for We Strive, which was so nerve-wracking because it was live.
Now remember that you did great. I forgot about that.
I had during the live stream, Adam bought me a McDonald's up and put the McDonald's at the side of my computer. So as like a reward for this live stream, because I was so nervous. I was like, I wasn't going to back out, but I was at a point where I was so nervous that I was like, I can't do it. I'm going to have to say I'm poorly or something, because I was so nervous and I felt really poorly. But Adam comes back with this McDonald's, and he puts this McDonald's at the side of the desk. And he said, but if you do that live stream, you get this McDonald's. And I'm like, I can't not do it now because the McDonald's was there and it was whacking in my face. I was like, I'm going to have to do it. And I was at a point during my live stream, I lost because I wrote like a rude word instead of section. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was so focused on people picking up on that I just my mind went. And I just couldn't, I was going through it, making sure I don't type that again, making sure it's and I was so focused on it, I just rushed through the rest of it. And I was like, oh, Dad was like, you've done great. I was like, oh no. I was like, I sat down and I had to get a drink. I had to get an alcoholic drink. I was sitting down and shaking. and it was just so hard.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you said like nervous like 20 times. And but I think that the people who are nervous, I think that they can be the most successful one maybe in the future. So I said, I wish you this because I also have been nervous. So I hope that this is true, what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe we are nervous because we want things to go in the good way. We want, I don't know, maybe to disappoint the people that are watching.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know if you can feel me. If
yeah,
it
that's it.
is that thing. But I think that by doing this sort of things, you did great. Really, I say this honestly. You had a lot of feedback about that. And I
Yeah, it's
also
just
think,
making sure it goes in the right place.
yeah,
Like you redo, you go through the dummy live stream, doing it on like I did it on VS Code, so I used the live server and was just doing it in my own time, just
yeah,
practicing. And I was like, right, that's it, I've got it. Nothing can go wrong. I got on
yeah.
the live stream and I put the footer outside of the body and outside of the tags, and I was like, oh no. And Stephen messaged me and he was like, put it back in. I was like, oh no, what have I done? I was like, that's, when you think it's going to go okay because you practice thousands of times and you're so confident when you're practicing, you know it's not going to go wrong. You get on there, something's going to go wrong. It's a live stream, and Florin said, he was like, look, be prepared for things to go wrong because it's a live stream, and it happens. And I was like,
if they are there to judge you, maybe they are in the wrong place.
that's it.
Yeah. It's so, but and I think that sometimes I also say this exactly to Florin Pop, who has been here. Sometimes we have a different perception of ourselves from the inside. So maybe you have a total different perception of yourself from the inside. But please listen to the good feedbacks from the outside because for being, you look like professional. Yeah. So
Thank you very much.
yeah, it's true. So for example, which are your plans? How many live streams have you done? Do you plan to do something in the future?
That was my first one.
Yeah.
So I've not done any before. That was my first one, and I think I would do it again. But I think like I'd rather pre-record the videos, and make sure that that I do it like that. I wouldn't necessarily keep going on live streams because I think I work myself up far too much. I think to do another live stream. So like unless it was with like a group of people like this now, obviously,
an idea, for example.
Nice, but I just couldn't do another live stream now. I'd have to just pre-record, which it's in the pipeline, but it's time, isn't it?
I think that everything works. We can try different things. I've had here people that they don't do live streams and they are super successful. People that love to do live streaming, for example, Florin Pop. I don't know. So I've never done, I think, live stream and live coding right now. Maybe I'm planning to do something with Stefan after, maybe some other people. I really like the idea to code with two people, maybe 3 or 4 are too many. Maybe they are too many. But in my opinion, for example, the live coding with 2 people is great because you can correct each other. And also, for example, if one person is super focused, the other person can maybe read the chat, interact with people, and also check your code. So it's way better. And also, it's even more entertainer. So this could also be an idea, for example, if you find a partner, maybe to build even some small projects. I don't know, maybe in the future we could try to do something together.
Yeah.
But this could be an idea. Even small things, 2 people coding, you can use maybe VS Code, live coding, something like that. There's an extension to code on the same code from 2 different people. This could be an idea, but you are great even alone. So your live, So, for example, would you like to also make some videos, maybe on YouTube?
Yeah. So it is in the pipeline. It's just at this moment, obviously, it's just so hard because they're talking about in the UK the children staying back at home again and not going to school with the COVID. So there's potential for more homeschooling there. So having the kids at home trying to work and then study, you can just imagine it's just going to be, and then the gym's shut as well. So you can't get that time to go out and just have an hour to yourself unless you're going for a walk, but then the kids want to go and you just don't get that time.
And now I remember something that we would like to talk about. You talked about studying, so can you talk about this, because I'm interested in hearing this, because we've talked about this what are you studying now?
Okay, so I'm studying a computer science degree, and for me personally, it's probably the best thing I've ever done. I know, like, you can get into coding and programming without a CS degree, and I really respect all those people that do. Everyone comes from so many different ways and paths to get into programming, but for me, the discipline for the studying, having those modules where you're learning, set things at set times has really worked for me. Like, I think at the beginning, obviously being left to my own devices and, like searching, what do I learn after this? That didn't work for me. So before I fully started coding properly through lockdown, I signed up to do a degree and study for a degree. So I thought, I'm going to study for the degree, then I'm going to start to learn to program. But before that, I'd already started to program. So the degree came after. So like now in the degree, they're learning Scratch, which is, to me now is quite hard to do because, you're building things, but it's a very complicated way for me, because obviously I've learned, through HTML and JavaScript and like through VS Code, writing it like that. Now having to use these different blocks and things, and it's tough.
Yeah, it's different. Different. Maybe it's easier, but it's different.
But it's so beneficial to be doing this degree because everything's staggered. So you can take different paths at the end. You can go on to be an engineer. You can go on to do cybersecurity. So, you've got so many different options, but everything's like in blocks. So you're learning, about the computer. It's very, I'd say it's very for maybe someone who has never used a computer before. I think it's very basic compared to what I already know at this time. But I think the next module is Python. Again, so that's another thing, so if I was learning React now, and then now, going on to learn Python, I'm like, oh gosh, so I'm just sort of taking a back seat from, trying to learn a particular framework, picking up bits and bats, but, just trying to, slow down a bit, because everything now it's getting into the degree, everything's coming at a bit more of a pace. The questions are harder. The wording's harder, the referencing's harder, so it's getting harder, and it's just so time consuming that, as beneficial as it is to me, it takes up a lot of time. All day today I've been studying and trying to work out how to, repeat and loops and, that sort of, writing algorithms for a Scratch game. So it's tough, but it's really worth it, especially if you need that discipline and you need that, like, that someone to say, right, we're doing this and then we're doing this and we're doing this. That's what that's what I need to do. Otherwise my head's like over there and then over there, and I'm like, so it's just it's better to have that discipline.
I can give my 2 cents. I have a computer science degree. I tweet about, I think on a daily basis, that you don't need a CS degree to be a developer, but I never say that having a CS degree it's useless. Some people think about that. For me, it's not. First of all, because I had the job that I had from a professor from the university. So this is just a great thing. And I also, as you said, I don't think that this can really hurt. So in your case, you have chosen a path. I like what you say that it gives maybe you more opportunities.
Yeah, I'd say maybe in the UK they do ask for like a degree of some sort when they ask, when they have jobs and stuff, which that's great, because obviously they know then that a person studied for the computer science and they've done some sort of relevant work. But at the same time, I'm thinking, there's people out there that have not got a degree but have done the equivalent hours of learning. Maybe it might not be about a computer, but it's been about the programming side of it, and it's been about or cybersecurity side of it, and they've equated the same amount of hours as somebody who's done a degree and maybe have put more, same if not more time in to get in their role. So I do think, especially over here, asking specifically for a degree and then having, you need X amount of months, years of experience, I think it's a bit unrealistic because, you've got, like you say, you've got someone who's put the same amount of time that hasn't got a degree, but is just as good, if maybe better, than someone who has. You don't know. So, as much as it is not useless to have a degree. It's like, for me, someone like me who thinks I can't, I've not got the confidence to just go out and, do that amount of learning. Having that degree behind me gives me a bit more confidence to, to maybe go for a role.
Exactly. Yeah, there is nothing wrong with that. You don't need to give to say that. Yeah, I think as you said, not as you said, it's also about discipline. Yeah, you can work out even at home without going to the gym. But for some people, maybe need to do going to the gym. It's easier, for example, to do exercise because they have some person who can really help them. So as you said, it's more about discipline. Yeah,
that's it though. But if some people don't want to go for a degree, and some people will say to their blue in the face, "You don't need a degree." But if somebody wants to go for a degree, then that's okay too. You can't say to people, "Don't get a degree," because some people might want to get a degree. And you see it all the time on social media, like, "No, you don't need a degree. You don't." But there's no ever tweet saying, "But if you want to go for a degree, that is also okay." And I think that needs to be, normalized. So people I came on and saw loads of tweets saying you don't need a degree, and that upset me a little bit because obviously I'm doing a degree, and there's people out there also doing a degree. So to see those sort of tweets, it does get a bit upsetting. That you've chosen that path. Yes, it's not the same as everybody else.
Yeah, and maybe if you do a person's degree, you understand really that can be really hard sometimes. In your case, you also have kids, so it's even harder.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with you because I have that. I studied for that. I had so many good connections with that. I've met people. Maybe now we are in COVID times, but I met some real good friends. It opened my mind to some new opportunities. So I've never said that my computer science degree has been useless. Never on Twitter.
No. Yeah. That's it. I mean, so whatever path you take, we all ultimately are going towards the same goal. Whether you're doing a degree or not, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's your path. It's not yours and everybody else's path. It's your. If you want to go for that degree, then go for it. But if you don't, that's also fine. You don't always have to go for it.
Yeah, and it's a computer science degree is not for life. It's just for a period of our life. In the future, maybe this can be useful, maybe for some contacts, maybe some things that you can even learn there. So why not? I need to like this. So best of luck with that. I know that it's hard sometimes because sometimes you need to study something. I don't know, maybe in your case, but for me, there's been had some exams really theoretical, some theory to study. It's even harder. I had to study coding almost all by myself, even if I did.
And look how far you've come. You've come like, full circle from not being, going on a stream with other people, and being nervous, to coming full circle and doing all these interviews with people, so it just shows people that obviously it gives them the confidence to, to come out of their shell. Like, I wouldn't have done this if you hadn't started doing these videos and, posting these short clips on on Twitter, sorry, and getting everybody to like, add their own clip and stuff. It just sort of like gets everybody's confidence up. And I think that's what we need to see more of. Like, show us your face, don't write a comment, show us, video. And I know it's hard, but
and you are doing this right now, because so you're not just saying this, but you are doing this. I love the people that they do the things that they want the other people to do. For first, to give an example, I'm really happy to have you here, because one of my aims, maybe I've seen that recently, that also to help people to show themselves, to get out of comfort zone. If they are introverted, if they are shy, they don't want to show themselves, because this can be really useful. You can have other qualities inside. You will need to show them, and working on this on a daily basis. So thank you, because you are helping me now. This will be really useful for some people. I have a lot of people who send me messages, direct messages. How can I do that? I'm too shy. How can I show myself? So I link this video, I think, because this can be really useful also for them. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.
Let's talk about, for example, where can we find you? Which social do you use the most? Do you use them or not?
So I use Twitter the most. I think Twitter is such a great platform, especially for people getting into tech, the support, and there's so many great people on there, obviously, for different uses, whether it's for like yourself, who's for confidence and to help people come out of their shell, and have that confidence to just put that little clip on, when you put things on about show a video of yourself and people put little clips on, just having that confidence. And just for different areas of tech, so certain frameworks, if you're interested, there's always people that are available to help and have got great resources and stuff. So definitely recommend Twitter.
And also I'm doing this kind of interviews to show that there are actually people behind monitors and keyboards. And just that profile picture on Twitter, there are actually real people behind that.
That's it. And it's what I think, once you, like, if you interact with people's posts and and they interact with you, the one tip I would say is just interact with people. Like, it's you might sit there and think, oh, no one's following me, or no one's interacting with my posts, but sometimes it just takes maybe you to interact with them, and just putting comments on, saying, I used to put, when I first started out, I used to put comments on saying, just have a great day, just to somebody, and that comment just makes somebody's day. It doesn't matter who it is, you don't, they could be the most confident person on Twitter, but you don't know what they're going through behind that screen. And I think just maybe a comment like that, it really can help. And then once you get that interaction and other people see it, and then it just, you just loop into a big loop. So
for example, sometimes I wake up, I open my messages, and I got like very long messages about my interviews. You helped me so much, and this really warms my heart, because this is why we do this. Growing, it's really great. This is also why my direct messages are still open, because sometimes I got these very helpful messages also for us. We are just maybe creating some content, so having good feedbacks about that, or just have a great day. I like your videos. This is really useful for me.
Oh, that's brilliant. And that's what you do it for, and that's that's exactly it. That's all.
I like this. So I'm really looking forward for the next live streaming of yours. I don't know when you'll do this again. I hope to jump there. Yeah, come on, you have been great. Yes, also, yeah, please follow Lars on every socials, on Twitter. We'll put some links in the description to that. Come on. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you. I really enjoyed this small conversation because I think we can, by giving example, even if you are not maybe the most extroverted people in the world, we can give the example that you can get out of your comfort zone, get out of your shell. I like this yeah, and then you will see, because then you will see your path, what you really enjoy. For example, I discovered that I like making videos, but before I didn't even know that because I never did that. So I could not understand it. Maybe now you have discovered that you like making live streams. I don't know. You need to do something, someone else, and I think you can go far, in my opinion. So in that case, we will come back on this video, and I'll say I was right. I'll say exactly the moment, and that's it. So best luck with everything.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Yeah. Would you like to say something to end, and then we'll say goodbye?
I just want to say thank you very much for having me on this video. And if you're not following Frank or not seen any of his videos, then head over to his YouTube channel, subscribe, and make sure you do view them.
That's perfect. You are ready. You are ready to do another live stream or open a YouTube channel. Looking forward for that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.